Welcome to Skytech-Lens. Let's talk about the American auto industry, a symbol of American ingenuity, grit, and economic might for over a century. Detroit, once known as the Motor City, was the beating heart of this powerhouse, churning out millions of vehicles and providing good jobs to generations of workers. But in recent years, the industry has faced a crisis, one that was ironically triggered by policies meant to protect it. Tariffs, designed to shield American manufacturers from foreign competition, have instead nearly destroyed the very industry they were supposed to save. In 2018, President Trump imposed a sweeping 25% tax on imported cars and parts, and doubled tariffs on steel and aluminum. The idea was simple: make foreign goods more expensive, so American-made cars would be more competitive, and jobs would come roaring back. But the reality was far more complicated. Instead of a manufacturing renaissance, automakers were hit with skyrocketing costs. The tariffs forced them to pay more for essential materials and parts, squeezing already thin profit margins. The result? Manufacturers have lost a staggering $108 billion, and the global auto industry's value has plummeted by $12 billion. The so-called protective wall of tariffs ended up boxing in American companies, making it harder for them to compete both at home and abroad. Many were left with no choice but to move production overseas or shut down plants entirely, fleeing the chaos created by the new trade barriers. The impact on sales has been devastating. Annual U.S. car sales have dropped from 16 million to just 14.5 million, a loss of over 1 million vehicles a year. Meanwhile, America's share of the global auto market has plunged from 18% to under 12%, erasing decades of hard-won progress. While American factories have gone quiet, foreign competitors have seized the moment. Overseas plants are thriving, filling the gap left by struggling U.S. automakers. The policy backfired spectacularly, accelerating the industry's decline and handing opportunities to rivals abroad. Instead of a revival, we've seen a wave of plant closures, mass layoffs, and a shrinking industry that's left entire communities reeling. The human cost is impossible to ignore: families uprooted, livelihoods lost, and once thriving towns now facing an uncertain future. The promise was a return to Detroit's glory days, when assembly lines ran around the clock and the city was a symbol of American prosperity. The reality, however, is a crisis that's left the industry a shadow of its former self. This is a textbook case of a solution that turned out to be worse than the problem it was meant to solve. Instead of strengthening the industry, the tariffs exposed its vulnerabilities and deepened its troubles. The industry was relatively stable before these policies. Now it's in freefall, with no easy way back. And in the end, it's not just companies or workers who are paying the price. It's American families, communities, and the nation's economic future that are bearing the cost of a failed experiment. The tariffs' most immediate impact: car prices have soared. New vehicles now cost $3,000 to $10,000 more, pricing millions out of the market. Even US-built cars are more expensive, thanks to tariffs on steel, aluminum, and hundreds of parts. Automakers pass these costs to consumers, making reliable cars a luxury. Some models have vanished from showrooms, and the dream of a new car is slipping away for many. The policy meant to protect Americans is punishing them at the dealership. Showrooms are now filled with unaffordable vehicles, and families are forced to keep aging cars longer. The cure has become worse than the disease. America's biggest automakers aren't just struggling, they're making a dramatic exit from their own backyard. Once the proud heart of the U.S. auto industry, Detroit is now witnessing a mass migration of jobs, factories, and investments across the border. The top 5 U.S. automakers are moving production out, closing factories in Detroit and beyond. Assembly lines that once ran day and night now sit silent, and thousands of workers are left wondering what's next for their families and their city. Canada, with its stable government policies, generous incentives, and a workforce ready to build the next generation of vehicles, has become the top destination for these companies. It's not just about lower costs, it's about certainty and support. Ford projects a $1.5 billion loss this year, while GM's profits have plummeted to historic lows. These financial hits are forcing tough decisions at the very top. Nissan too is facing billions in losses, adding to the industry's sense of crisis and urgency. Plants in Michigan, Texas, and Missouri are shutting down, leaving entire communities grappling with uncertainty and economic decline. Production is shifting rapidly to Canada, Mexico, and South Korea, where automakers find more favorable conditions and fewer obstacles to growth. U.S. tariffs have turned the country into a high-cost island, punishing companies for sourcing parts globally and making it harder to compete on the world stage. Canada's clear trade policy and attractive incentives make it the obvious choice for automakers looking to survive and thrive in a changing global market. Detroit is losing jobs, investment, and its future, not to foreign rivals but to self-inflicted wounds. The city's legacy as the Motor City is at risk of fading away. The very policies meant to punish foreign competitors have made foreign locations more attractive. For automakers, this isn't betrayal, it's a matter of survival in a world where the rules have changed. The absurdity is clear when you look at iconic vehicles. For generations, names like Ford and Chevrolet have been synonymous with American ingenuity, grit, and pride. These cars weren't just modes of transportation, they were woven into the fabric of American life, symbols of progress and prosperity. But now, Ford is moving Super Duty pickup production to Canada, making what was once a quintessential American icon into an import. The sight of these trucks rolling off Canadian assembly lines is a stark reminder of how quickly things can change. And it's not just trucks. Ford's entire electric vehicle line is also heading north, lured by generous Canadian incentives and a government eager to claim the future of green transportation. The shift is massive, and it's happening right before our eyes. Meanwhile, the US talks a big game about leading in green tech, but its own policies are driving that future away. Instead of building the next generation of vehicles at home, we're watching opportunity slip across the border. General Motors is following suit, shifting production of models like the Silverado and Blazer to Mexico and South Korea. US plants are closing, and thousands of skilled workers are being left behind as jobs move overseas. These were once productive, bustling factories, now they stand silent, casualties of policies that failed to protect American manufacturing and the communities that depended on it. Nissan, too, has been hit hard. Dependent on a global supply chain, it's slashed US capacity, shuttered plants, and in just one quarter, lost a staggering 94% of its revenue. The ripple effects are felt far beyond the factory gates. Over 25,000 jobs have been disrupted, with 20,000 lost for good. Each layoff isn't just a statistic, it's a family facing uncertainty, a community losing its heartbeat. These aren't just numbers, they're lives upended by a fundamental misunderstanding of modern manufacturing. The pain is real, and it's being felt in towns and cities across the country. The auto exodus is real, happening one factory and one model at a time. Each closure chips away at a legacy built over a century, leaving behind empty buildings and broken dreams. The American dream on wheels is being outsourced, and unless something changes, it may soon be just a memory. The real tragedy is the human cost. Tariffs promise to protect American workers, but instead tens of thousands of jobs are gone. When a plant closes, it devastates entire communities. Suppliers, truckers, local businesses, and schools all suffer. The promise of jobs has become a cruel joke in towns now filled with empty storefronts. Families who keep their jobs face soaring car prices, making a basic necessity unaffordable. Workers are hit twice. Job security is gone, and the cars they once built are out of reach. This is the story of skilled workers and proud communities left behind. The tariffs were supposed to be a lifeline. Instead, they're an anchor. The reality is lost jobs, struggling families, and broken dreams. Modern cars are built from a global network of parts, especially in North America. The US, Canada, and Mexico once operated as an integrated factory, with parts crossing borders multiple times. Tariffs shattered this system, turning every border into a costly checkpoint. Auto parts from Mexico now rack up massive fees, creating a logistical nightmare. 40% of US auto parts are imported. Tariffs just made everything more expensive. Small and medium suppliers are being crushed as automakers move production abroad. Only the biggest companies can adapt, often by leaving the US entirely. Canada is emerging as the new hub for North American auto manufacturing. The lesson relying on the US is now a liability. The powerhouse supply chain is broken and America is being left behind. Amid the chaos, Canada is the clear winner. While the US built economic walls, Canada offered stability and incentives. Ford received nearly $600 million from Canada to move electric and truck production north. Canada's smart, stable policies have attracted automakers fleeing US uncertainty. The contrast is stark. US automakers face billions in costs in a hostile environment, while Canada offers partnership and opportunity. Canada is securing the future of auto manufacturing, especially in electric vehicles. The US is losing its industrial edge, and Canada is picking up the pieces. The tariffs have enriched America's closest competitor. America wanted to win a trade war, but Canada is winning the future. As 2025 ends, the American auto industry is hollowed out, not by foreign rivals, but by its own policies. The car, once a symbol of American freedom and prosperity, is now out of reach for many. The tariffs meant to show strength have exposed deep weaknesses, accelerating decline and handing advantages to competitors. For everyday Americans, new cars are unaffordable, jobs are disappearing, and communities are struggling. The social contract between industry, workers, and consumers is broken. This is a cautionary tale of good intentions gone wrong. The road to recovery is unclear, and the damage is done. The question now, can the American dream on wheels ever recover? Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel for more updates.